Test, test. Can everyone hear me all the way in the back? All right, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Alicia Endicott, and I'm the Executive Director for the NCMC Foundation, and I want to thank all of you for being here. Someone asked me earlier, didn't we just have a scholarship reception? We did in April for the 21-22 academic year. This building gets used a lot in the spring, and the foundation has other events. So we moved the 22-23 reception to the fall, and by this turnout, I would say it was probably an excellent idea. So thank you all for being here. Let's see. I also want to thank Rick Cole and his team with Pirates Digital Media, and we're being live streamed today through piratesdigitalmedia.com. So if you want to come back on demand, you'll be able to watch this, or if you have a family member that would like to watch at a later time. Okay. The foundation is proud to host this annual event to honor and recognize all NCMC scholarship recipients, thank our donors and friends for their support, and recognize the many accomplishments of our students, faculty, staff, and alumni. I want to thank the Foundation Board for their work and commitment. Because of them and their stewardship and the gifts of our donors, this academic year will hand out over $250,000 in scholarships. How awesome is that? And that goes to over 275 students, and most of those awards are $1,000. So we're very thankful for that. Without our donors and investors, those who wanted to leave a legacy or honor a family member, we would not have the scholarship funds that we have today. I want to give a round of applause to our foundation, our board of trustees, faculty and staff, and to all of our donors, please. If you're a returning student for next fall, the 23-24 scholarship application will open up November 1st. It will be on Brightspace, and students, those who may or may not have been in my office at 4 o'clock on April 1st, you'll be able to do it all online. So there's still a 4:30 p.m. deadline on March 31st of 2023, so make sure you get your application in so you can be in consideration for a scholarship. I tell students all the time, if you don't apply, I can guarantee you, you won't be selected. So all you have to do is apply. Let's see here. I do want to add, on your table is some little tents, little cards that have my contact information on it. The NCMC Foundation is getting ready to embark in a major gifts campaign, transforming lives, empowering people. We have 3 main initiatives: a student center here on the Trenton campus, the Savannah campus that will be open in fall of 23, and then scholarship initiatives. Growing our scholarships, we had 363 general scholarship applications, and scholarship committee that's here in the room, they read every single essay. Of those 363, we're only able to award about 216. We have another round of allied health. So scholarship dollars are definitely needed. But with good stewardship by the foundation, we hope to be able to increase those numbers coming the next academic year as well. And I want to say thank you to these 4 individuals. We'll have one joining us on the video board, but I've heard their speeches. They're pretty good. They're phenomenal. I think you guys are going to enjoy all of our speakers today. Again, thank all of you for being here. We will get started, but first, Amy Guthrie, she's a NCMC English instructor. She's going to sing the national anthem. So if you would all please rise. And then Tammy Weavers is going to MC the rest of the event.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you for all the hard work that you put into putting this together, and your team and the foundation. It's greatly appreciated. And to my friend Amy Guthrie, I knew you could grade papers, but wow, you're a talented singer too. My name is Tammy Wiebers. I am a communication instructor at North Central Missouri College. This is my 15th year at NCMC, and I have to tell you, I've emceed this event several times, and this may be the best crowd I have ever seen. So give yourselves an applause. First, I have to begin with comments from Dr. Claver, who could not be here today. On behalf of Dr. Claver, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is with regret that Mrs. Claver and I are unable to attend the scholarship reception this year. It has always been an enjoyable event and one of our favorites. However, we have a long-standing commitment for today and the rest of the week in another state. The ability to obtain a scholarship to attend NCMC is often a deciding point on whether or not to attend college. As a college where access and affordability are very important, we try to help as many students as possible through our scholarship program, a program that continues to grow each year. Donors, thank you kindly for your generosity. What you have done through your contribution has made this day possible. Students, congratulations to all on your awards. Remember, someday down the road in your career, when you are doing well, that a generous donor made your scholarship and education at NCMC possible. As you reflect on your time at our college, please strongly consider what once provided for you. In turn, you will also provide for another aspiring student. Thank you, Dr. Claver. On his behalf. The NCMC Scholarship Reception is not only to recognize student recipients for your hard work and dedication, but to also thank those who have made this decision to invest in NCMC students by creating scholarships. The NCMC Foundation currently has over 50 endowed investments that allow students to receive financial assistance through scholarships, to attend NCMC and lessen their financial burden. Thank you to those in attendance today who have given to create a scholarship, or they are here to represent a family member or loved one who did. Student recipients, you are seated at a table that may have your investor seated there as well, or someone who may have known the investor. Be sure to take a moment to introduce yourself, and at the end of the program, visit the photo booth at the back if you have not already. Today we will hear from 3 NCMC Foundation Scholarship recipients as they share their stories about being able to spread their wings, thank their hero, and keep trying to reach their goals no matter the circumstances or age. I am confident that everyone here will be able to relate to one of those stories and how maybe yours may be similar. We are also fortunate to have 2 alumni join us and share how NCMC has impacted their lives. So first, I would like to invite Ashley Sturkis to the stage. Ashley is a graduate of the Albany High School class of 2022. She graduated early in December of 21 and began taking nursing prerequisite classes at North Central Missouri College in January. She has been accepted into the Licensed Practical Nurse LPN program. Ashley was named to the Dean's List in the spring of 2022, which requires a minimum 3.5 grade point average. During the 22-23 academic year, she received an NCMC Foundation Cross Allied Health Science Scholarship and a Lloyd and Margaret Ketcham Scholarship. I introduce to you Ashley Sturkis.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashley Sturkis. When I was first approached to give this speech here today, I was amazed that one of my teachers had remembered me. Growing up, I was always taught that in college, you are just another kid trying to get by, but I stood out. Throughout high school, I always felt like a buzzard among the eagles. I never felt that my voice was being heard or that I was able to authentically be myself in fear of judgment. I was surrounded by staff that didn't always see me. So when the opportunity to graduate early was presented to me, I grabbed it with no hesitation. By graduating early, some feared that I was missing out on the best experiences of my life. While I was unable to hold offices in certain clubs or attend some events, I never regret my decision. In December of 2021, I graduated from high school and started college in January of this year. Going into college, I felt intimidated and worried that I wasn't going to be able to keep up with my peers. All of my worries melted away as soon as I walked into the classroom of Dennis Sager's A&P class. For those of you that do not know Dennis Sager, I will tell you that he is the most supportive, down-to-earth person you will ever meet. I started his class not knowing anyone and walked away with one of the best mentors I've ever had, some of my best friends, and memories that will last a lifetime. I was able to complete all prerequisite classes and started the nursing program in August. I remember the overwhelming feeling of excitement as I walked down Cross Hall for the first day of classes. I walked into the classroom and sat right front and center so I could be a part of every discussion. One of the first things out of Mrs. Skipper's mouth was, "I want you all to remember your why as you go through this program." At first, I was confused. I mean, it's the first day and she's already telling us we're going to struggle and have to remember why we're here. But 8 weeks later, I understand. The absolute rush of adrenaline and joy that we feel after passing an exam is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. But on the flip side, If you see a score lower than 80, your heart just stops and you cannot move. You then look back to your why and push forward. Now, many people have told me that it's amazing that I want to become a nurse and that they are proud, but very few of them have asked me why I wanted to become a nurse. I absolutely love helping others and providing them comfort. Every time I leave the hospital, I remember the nurses that got me through some of the most traumatic experiences of my life. They never made me feel invalid, and they were always there to help me through it. I want to provide that for others. One of my main goals in this life is to have a positive difference and end the day knowing that I helped make someone else's day better. Now, many of you may not know this, but I'm a first-generation college student. I'm the oldest of 6 and live in a household with one financial provider. Therefore, going into college, I was financially independent. I rely on my good grades and hard work to try to get out of college debt-free. Throughout high school, I worked at a local restaurant, always saving up. But without the help of scholarships, I wouldn't be able to pave the path for college education in my family. I'm a proud recipient of the Lloyd and Margaret Ketcham Scholarship, as well as a Cross Allied Health Science Scholarship. These scholarships have been one of the greatest blessings in this life. The fact that others believe in my success is astonishing. Gaining these scholarships have allowed me to pay for the essentials, such as tuition and fees, books, and medical instruments. Going into college has allowed me to become an eagle and soar. I have found my voice and reason. I want to thank all the staff members who have taken the time to go above and beyond to make us students feel welcome. I also want to thank the donors who have invested in our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley, for your story and for sharing a truth about Mr. Sager and Mrs. Skipper, because they are both excellent, excellent instructors. Next, I would like to introduce to you alumni Jane Meservey. Jane Hardy Meservey is a 1995 graduate of North Central Missouri College. Mrs. Meservey started her career with NCMC in 2014 as a library assistant and transferred to the Tutoring Center in 2018. She has been awarded 2 Bill Osmus Faculty Staff Mini Grants to fund various student support projects. She and her husband Jimmy have twins, Sam and Audrey, and live on a multi-generational family farm near Chula. Jane Meservey.
Thank you. I am Jane Meservey, Tutoring Center Director. I think I didn't put that in the speech, so there we go. It is a bit ironic that I'm standing in front of you today. Speech was not one of my better classes, and this was not my instructor, by the way. I did do well here at NCMC, but it was not one of my better classes, so it is an honor to be in front of you today. When I graduated high school, I was from a family that made about $6,000 a year. In 1986, that was still not a lot. I'm number 4 out of 6 children. There wasn't really a lot of money for college, and scholarships just weren't even on my radar at the time. So I went a different path. I did all those jobs that young adults do. I worked at a nursing home. I worked at restaurants. I went on to work in retail, which I loved. I loved retail, ended up managing some stores and things like that. But eventually, it got to the point of I hated working nights and weekends. You know, on nights and weekends, everybody else is off work and you could go do things, but not me, because I wasn't available. And about that same time, my parents started college. And my parents were about this age, about 50-ish, when they started college. And I figured if they could do it at their advanced age, then maybe I could handle it in my mid-20s, so I did. I started going to college 2 or 3 nights a week. It was really not hard for me because it was a great social event. I got to go out and see other people And I had instructors like Gene Hartley and Mike Arnold. If you know these people, they're among the many wonderful instructors I had. Gene Hartley didn't just teach accounting, he taught us how to make the best salsa ever, and he brought that to class. Mike Arnold didn't just teach business law, he had specific examples of cases that he had worked on in his community. It made it easy for me to go, but I've got to say, after 3 years of doing that, I'm like, either I'm going to get this done or I'm done. I'm out of here, right? So I started working part-time, and I went to school full-time. That year, I became an active member of Phi Theta Kappa, our honor society here on campus. And we were a great club. We went to our sectionals and our state meet, and we had an international conference we even flew to in Chicago. It was a very active club, and I enjoyed that. Back then, I also did some tutoring in the library. It wasn't a paying gig back then, but I did do it. There were people that needed to know how to do math, and I had a gift for it, so I did that, and it was great. It was a great social time for me. So my memories here are wonderful. So then later on, you know, I've done other jobs, had kids, all that stuff, and I decided to come back and apply for a job here as a library assistant. Actually, I skipped something, guys, so let me go back. I'm sorry. Like I said, speech wasn't my thing. So also, when I was here, one of the things we had to do, which students today still do the same thing, they have a class called Employment Strategies. In that class, they have to go do a mock interview. I had to do that, just like they do today. When I went in for my mock interview, the person said if they had a job opening, they would hire me, right? So 2 weeks later, I see that person in my community, and they need a ride. So when I gave them a ride back to their office, I said, hey, you got a job for me? And she hired me. So that not working nights and weekends was taken care of within a couple weeks of me leaving NCMC. I hit my goal because of NCMC. So I want to make sure I tell that for sure. Later on, I was looking for a job again, and I became a library assistant here at NCMC, and I did that for 4 years until I moved over to the tutoring center. I am the tutoring center director, as I said, and the tutoring center is one of the services offered in the Bosley Learning Commons. That's what our area is called. It includes the SSS and the library, as well as the tutoring center. The people in these areas have the honor of and the blessing of getting to know our students on a one-to-one basis, more so than their instructors often. And that really has led us into knowing our students just so well. One of the students we had supported that became a great friend and really a family member of mine was Diana Naganyamo. She was from Zimbabwe, and as an international student, she didn't qualify for all of the financial supports that someone that is not international would qualify for. But nonetheless, our donors took care of her and made her goals come true, and so she could support herself and her family in Zimbabwe. So thank you to donors, and I want you to know that today she's in California working in a skilled nursing facility and still helping her family and reaching her dreams. My own children also received scholarships from here. My children were 2020 seniors, and there's so many events they didn't get to do, as many of you didn't in your high school years. So they were a little down, but once they got a little money for some scholarships so they could get laptops and their books ready, they were ready to continue their education. So I thank you for lifting up my children with your dollars. Each summer here at NCMC, I do the parent portion of the OR session. I hope all of you parents that got to listen to me for about an hour and a half back then have found that information I gave you to be true. In short, we give our all for your students. I am confident that these students will see immediate improvements in their life due to the education they receive here. It sure worked for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you for your journey at NCMC, and we're sure glad that you're still here, but not as a student, but as a great tutoring center leader. And thank you to those donors who have great multi-stories there. Next, I would like to introduce to you Abner Neal. Abner Neal is working on an Associate's in Arts AA degree, he plans to transfer to Luther Rice College and Seminary to complete his bachelor's and then pursue a master's of divinity through the New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary. Abner lives in Princeton with his wife, Jennifer, and together they have 5 children. He was named to the Dean's List in the fall of 2021, which requires a minimum 3.50 grade point average, and to the President's List in the spring of 2022 with a 4.0 grade point average. During the 22-23 academic year, Abner received the NCMC Foundation Betty Francis and Nadine Hall Scholarship. Abner Neal.
I'm a little bit taller than some people. So I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you to the leadership of this institution. Dr. Claver's not here, but thank you to Dr. Claver. Thank you to our administration, to our faculty, our staff. Thank you, foundation members and families, for your generous support of the students of this region and the world who are all attracted to NCMC. I have to tell you, my story is a little different. As you can guess, I'm a little bit of a non-traditional student. I had to chuckle as Jane was giving her remarks and said, you know, she graduated in 1986. Me too. So it's been a long time since high school. I have made 3 different attempts at a college education. It happens. The first time I started, and I thought I knew everything. Anybody in this room know everything? I thought I knew it all. And I thought I could treat college just like I did high school, where I never had to do homework. You just show up, you take tests, you get grades, you go home. Didn't work out so well. So after 1 semester, I said, I'm going back to work. This is better. Then flash forward a little bit, and my beautiful wife Jennifer and I get married, and I'm going to go back to school. One of my employers said, we'll help pay for your education if you go to school. And so in the process of going back to school, I'm going to really buckle down. Then we find out that we're expecting our first child. I start to get a little panicky about that, and then due to some other circumstances, next thing you know, I don't finish yet again. Flash forward several years, now we have 5 kids. The economy's taken a turn, and you know, I'm just not happy in business, which I'd been doing for almost 30 years, and so I felt like God was calling me to ministry. So I enrolled in a Bible college, and I started taking courses, and I did that for 3 semesters. And then life took another turn, and I was done with that. So flash forward, we get to Princeton, Missouri in 2016. August of 2016, our family moves here. And we're trying to figure out what we're doing. Our kids, we homeschooled, and they had just finished some of them had just finished their homeschool education, and we weren't sure what to do. And then we found this gym called North Central Missouri College. And I am thrilled to say that I am following in the footsteps of 4 of my 5 children in attending NCMC. I am, for our family, I'm a first-generation college student, but basically so are my kids because we're all here at the same time. And that's kind of neat. My oldest daughter, Emily, graduated a couple years ago. She's at Northwest. She's going to become a teacher. Our second daughter, Abby, she graduated last May with a degree in agriculture. She's off pursuing her dream on a cattle operation in South Dakota. My daughter, Riley, is in the ADN program. She'll soon be a registered nurse. My son, Edward, is pursuing not 1, not 2, but 3 different associate degrees from NCMC. And then there's Dad. Here I am. And I got to tell you, as I got on this campus, I was a little unsure of myself. I mean, here I'm the old guy. I'm walking around and I see all these young faces, and I got no hair and gray hair and a beard, and I'm just a little out of place. And so what I want to let you know is that the biggest difference maker for me was the people. See, when I started as an incoming freshman in my first semester, I had a routine that I would go through to kind of make myself get through the day. I would come in the morning, I'd go to Cross Coffee Shop, get some coffee. Then I'd go to class, and after class, I had a routine that I would go to the library and I'd talk to Dr. Beth. Why? Because she is one of the most comforting souls on the face of the earth. And she could just look at me and say, Abner, it's going to be okay. Then I'd go to my next class, and after that, I'd drop down to the tutoring center and I'd talk to Miss Jane. I didn't need help. I just needed a friend who looked like me. And it worked so well. You know, and I have to say, I speak for a living. I'm a pastor, but, you know, when I took speech, and Tammy Weavers was my instructor, she said, Abner, what's the deal with your hands? I said, I'm from South Louisiana. We talk like this. It's okay. Then I took a class with Rick Cole, and he said, Abner, you have a gift. You have a face that was made for radio. Thanks, Rick. But seriously, I just want to finish my remarks with this. Foundation members, families of those whose scholarships are named for, those who have given sacrificially to support this institution and its students and their families, you may not realize the impact that you make. For us as a family, I talked about my kids. I'm blessed. All 4 of my children who have attended here have received foundation scholarships. If it were not for those scholarship dollars, we as a family would have had to make some very hard decisions about, okay, who gets to go to school and who has to wait. If it weren't for foundation scholarship dollars, Dad wouldn't be here because my kids have to be my priority. But your generosity has allowed me to pursue my dreams and to fulfill a commitment I made to myself a long time ago. So thank you so much for your faithful support of this institution and its students. I want to just share one last thing in closing, and that's this. Having attended other institutions, one of the most unique things that I have found about my experience here is that North Central Missouri College is a supportive community. From all of our faculty and our staff to the ladies in the coffee shop, everyone encourages our students. That's been my experience. Everyone asks, how's your day? And how, if any way, could they help you? And for a non-traditional student coming back and struggling with identity and how to be in a classroom after so many years, that's made all the difference in the world. See, our administration and our faculty, they share a commitment to make sure that every student experience is a positive one. They support us and help us to pirate on and push through when things get tough. And I wrote this last statement because I want to make sure I get it right. And that's this. When you pair the tremendous support of the NCMC Foundation with our faculty, our staff, and our administration, and the quality of students that are brought to this institution, what you get then is you realize that this institution, North Central Missouri College, is positioned for growth and continued success as the small school that empowers students to accomplish their dreams. Thank you.
Thank you, Abner, and thank you for your passion for NCMC and your education. Next, I would like to introduce to you alumni Adam Rice, but tonight, or this afternoon, it's going to be on the board behind you. So as I read his bio, they'll get the video ready. Adam Rice graduated from North Central Missouri College in 2018 and continued on to Missouri University of Science and Technology to complete his bachelor's degree in petroleum engineering. During his academic career, he worked as a tutor, student success coach, and peer wellness educator to inspire and guide fellow students. In 2021, he presented at Missouri S&T TED Talk titled Addicted to Failure, where he outlines his battle with addiction and a strategy every individual can implement when they face failure in their lives. Adam currently works as an engineering challenger for a global industrial lubricants manufacturer and spends his free time volunteering in his local community. While a student at NCMC in 2017-18, he received an NCMC Foundation scholarship, the Alan Moore III and Ann B. Moore Scholarship.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adam Rice, and I'm a 2018 graduate of North Central Missouri College. And to start off, I just wanted to first congratulate all of you for your scholastic achievements, which have brought you here today. It is a great honor, and I'm so excited for you guys to be here. Secondly, I wanted to thank all the donors, right? Because without you, none of this would be possible. I was a recipient back in 2018 during my time, and it had a huge impact financially, right, in helping me make it through school. And secondly, it also relieved a lot of that burden at home, where I could focus more on my academics rather than how am I going to pay the bills. So after I got done with North Central Community College, when I graduated, I went to Missouri S&T, right, to pursue my engineering degree. And while I was there, I had a lot of opportunities to get involved in working with the student body. And so one of the jobs that I took on was a success coach. So I would sit down with people and converse with them on how they can improve. So I had this one student this one time who sat across from me, right? And he was failing in a lot of his classes and struggling with all of the amount of work that was required in both working and trying to focus on his academics. And he said to me, he's like, I was asking him why, what is going on? And he just said, I'm this average Joe, right? I'm from small town Missouri, and nothing's ever happened to me. I haven't made any huge achievements, and I'm just an average guy. And I wish I could tell you that I had some words of wisdom for him, brought him around and helped him succeed. But in that moment, unfortunately, I failed him. I wasn't able to help him find his uniqueness, right? And so all of us are unique. We all have our own lived experiences, our triumphs and our challenges that we face that make us who we are. And see, when I came to NCMC, I was in my early 30s and recently had gotten into recovery from addiction. And I was welcomed, right? And so stepping into that space, I was unsure of how I would be taken in. And I quickly found students and staff and faculty who didn't judge me. They didn't discard me for the choices I made previously. They would ask me about myself and listen to the experience that I had. They accepted me and they embraced me and helped me become the person I am today and helped me grow. I tell you all of this because it is for you guys to do the same, right? So you're sitting there now and maybe you think that you're an average person and you haven't faced any challenges, or that the scholarship recipient is just kind of a thing, it was given to you. But my challenge to you is to reflect on your life. And I want you to think about everything that you've experienced. Ask yourself those introspective questions of, who do I call when I get exciting news? Or what has shaped my beliefs and behaviors today? Finding out what those are is going to help you find your unique story Because I promise you, one of the things that I've realized in life is that my unique story helps people in times. Far too often, it's connected me to others who maybe they have a family member or they themselves have had struggles with addiction. And it's this connection, right, that drives us forward in life. And the second thing that I want to challenge you to do is I want to challenge you to seek out others' unique story. Right? Oftentimes we talk about walking a mile in their shoes. Or what if the shoe is on the other foot? And I'm personally not really a fan of that statement, because when you do that, you put on someone else's shoes, you carry your experiences with you, right? You're viewing it still from your lens. And so the goal will be to have conversations with people, to be open and actively listen to what they've experienced through their lens. And so if you can do those two things moving forward, you know, you can use this scholarship from your scholastic achievements in life as one of those marks, those points in your story. You can continue to build on that as you go forward in your journey. So again, I want to thank you for just the time allowing me to speak. And again, congratulations on your achievements, and hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Next, I'm going to introduce to you Hannah Greider. Hannah Greider is from Bethany, and she is the daughter of Rebecca Willis and the late Harold Greider. Hannah is a non-traditional student currently working towards an Associate's in Applied Science and Medical Lab Technician, an MLT degree. She is president of the Baptist Student Union, a member of the First Gen Club, and Phi Theta Kappa. Hannah was named to the President's List in the fall of 2021 with a 4.0 grade point average. She received an NCMC Foundation Lloyd and Margaret Ketcham Scholarship during the 22-23 academic year. Hannah Greider.
She doesn't wear a cape, she doesn't fly, she doesn't leap tall buildings in a single bound. But let me tell you a story about my hero. My story starts like most, an ordinary person trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life. But by the time she had made up her mind, she had many obstacles in her way. She was raising 6 children. Like any hero, they find a way to overcome all the obstacles. She had a wonderful support system, and she headed out to NCMC to start her nursing career. She then transferred on to Mercy in Des Moines, and during her college days, she got pregnant and she fought off thyroid cancer, but eventually she graduated with an ASN RN degree. Most nights, she would do all the housework and get the kids into bed and then study for hours. I got to watch the entire process of this hero overcoming all of her obstacles, as I am one of her children. I knew from an early age that I wanted to follow my family into the medical field, but as life tends to be unpredictable, I found myself at 39 years old with no job skills and on disability. I decided that while I was on government assistance, that I could get training for a career and get myself off of disability. I looked back to my hero story and decided to take the first steps, which was getting accepted to college. My love of all things medicine and science related led me to pursue a career as a medical laboratory technician here at NCMC. I was excited to start college, and then I started thinking about how I could afford it as I was on a fixed income. First, I was accepted into the program called Vocational Rehabilitation, and they helped me with transportation funds so that I could travel to school. My Pell Grant covered most of my tuition, but I was still lacking some of the funds. I knew I wanted to avoid taking out loans. Then I saw an opportunity for an NCMC Foundation scholarship, so I went out on a limb and applied. You see, I've never gotten a scholarship before, so when I received the email informing me that I was a recipient of the Lloyd and Margaret Ketcham Scholarship, I was relieved and honored. Of course, I called my hero to let her know, and you know what she said? She said, "You should write a small speech for the banquet because they may ask you to speak." And I told her she was crazy and there was no way I'd be speaking in front of this many people. I was extremely nervous to start college as a non-traditional student, going through classes with kids half my age. My professors were a significant help to me. They were so encouraging. Miss Guthrie, Miss Poole, and Miss Weavers all have a very special place in my journey. Miss Guthrie was my first teacher, and she made school so easy that I felt at ease as soon as I entered her classroom. She truly had my best interest at heart. She noticed that I was terrified to take speech, so she had Miss Weavers come in and meet me. Miss Weavers got me out of my shell. She was so attentive to each of our struggles and would work hard to get us to our greatest potential by the end of the semester. 2 years ago, I would never have talked in front of people, and now look at me. And although Miss Poole teaches anatomy and physiology, she is such a personable teacher that I felt like I could talk to her about anything, well beyond our mutual interest in science. She is so knowledgeable, and she has taught me so much throughout the 2 semesters I had her. I have a large support group of friends here at NCMC. It's a wonderful place to make friends, and it offers so many activities and events to mingle and make relationships. I am involved in groups here at NCMC. I'm the president of the VSU. I'm a member of the National Honor Society, Phi Theta Kappa, and the newly formed First Gens Club. I would not be here today without my professors and my support system, which includes my hero, the tutors and staff at the Student Support Services, as well as the much-needed financial assistance offered to me. I feel super blessed to be one of the dozens of students helped by the Ketcham Scholarship. I am so glad that I went out on that limb to apply, and all other NCMC students should as well. I am so thankful for the legacy left by the late Lloyd and Margaret Ketcham to help students like me. There's no way I would have been successful without these people in my corner. To recap, my hero set me on my journey. NCMC has had such an impact on me and my friends and the friends I have made. I will continue this journey until I reach my goal of having a career and getting myself off of disability. And it is my goal to one day have someone write a hero story about me.
So, thank you, Hannah. Thank you for the nice things about Miss Poole and Miss Guthrie. They are wonderful instructors, and we have a super, super duper foundation board. So as we draw to an end, because we are nearing the conclusion of this wonderful reception, I would like to ask any student who received a scholarship today to please stand and remain standing. In addition, regardless if you attended NCMC or not, if you have ever received a scholarship for your education, please stand and remain standing. If you are a donor or represent a donor, please stand and remain standing. And if you are part of the foundation and/or scholarship committee, please stand and remain standing. I don't know if you can see what I can see from this viewpoint, but there's an awful lot of grateful individuals in this room, both recipient and those who are blessed enough to give. So thank you. You may sit. As we conclude, I would like to tell you, I attended NCMC for 1 semester, and it was a wonderful opportunity. I too am a first-generation student, and I'm from Bethany. And I traveled back and forth, and it was a wonderful place. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. And when I was here, not in 1986, but when I was here, I felt welcomed, I felt loved, I received a wonderful education, but it gave me enough gumption that I went ahead and I transferred on and I got my bachelor's and then I got my master's. And then I've been here for 15 years. My husband and I have a daughter and 3 sons, and my daughter graduated on a Saturday from NCMC with her associate's degree, and then graduated on a Sunday with her high school diploma. So I know that NCMC is wonderful. So I hope if you are here for a long time like me, or a short time for 2 years, because we want you the entire 2 years, if you come back, or if you pass through, that you always know NCMC is home. And home is in your heart, and your heart is filled with the people that you love. And whether your story was told up here by 3 magnificent speech students, or if your story is at your table, always know that NCMC is home. So at this time, I would like to invite students and guests to look at the table, because you should be able to find a note card and pins. And I hope that you take the time to write a thank you note to our investors who have invested in scholarships and your educational future, as well as the campaigns. And not only does the foundation invest in scholarships, but they have also invested in the construction of this building, the Ketcham Community Center, Hoffman Hall, residence halls, Cross Allied Health Building, and the Barton Farm campus, as well as the restoration of Geyer Hall and many, many more. So at this time, I would like to all thank you and invite, am I done? Yes, I am it. And I would like to invite you and conclude the reception. Thank you.